Hey everyone, this is Chris, and you're watching One Cross Video. And today we are joined by nobody. It's just me. And I want to give a very special shout out to my amazing sister, just wonderful friend, amazing sister in Christ, Jen Percy from Cardboard Koinonia. You guys are the only non-Power Rangers image or related logo that will be in this episode, but I just wanted to shout Jen out because she reached out to me today and actually really encouraged me to do this video, and it did. It's incredibly helpful and gets me a bit out of my funk because for the past 2 weeks I have been dirt sick. I have a history of stomach issues, and I've had a stomach bug come in, and I've praise be to God, it looks like I'm finally turning around. I just got to take it slow. But today's the first day in the past 2 straight weeks that I haven't thrown up. I've actually been able to keep stuff down. Over that 2 weeks, there was times where I wasn't even to keep liquids down, let alone food, and at times it'd be like a quarter of the food and maybe half the liquids tops. But today, so far, things are staying down. Stomach's still not doing well, but might have finally been turning things around. So thank you to my amazing family and wonderful friend Bex from Redeemed Otaku for keeping me in your prayers. But with not being able to keep things down, that includes stomach medication and medication for your mental health, including anxiety and depression. So those have been really whooping me lately. It didn't help that my personal Instagram got hacked last week, and some friends were impacted by that. So again, I'm sorry. Thankfully, those are back. But still, it just hasn't been the most fun. But Jen did help inspire me to actually do this idea, and this idea was inspired by 2 Power Rangers related things. Number one is the excellent Power Rangers audio drama. I've tweeted about it. To me, it is the best thing coming out of the Power Rangers fandom. It's from Scyther Studios. They do a number of other audio dramas, X-Men, Star Trek, which I haven't had the chance to check out yet, but I'm intending to. But the work on Power Rangers is amazing. Fan productions get a mixed bag of reception. Homies, this one's awesome. It improves on some of the stuff that, say, Boom Studios lay down in their excellent comic series. If you're wanting a mature take on Power Rangers, this is it, son. This was also inspired by the awesome podcast from friend of our podcast, patron, just awesome friend and dude in general, Nathan Marchand, from his spin-off podcast, The Power Trip, where they go through and look at Power Rangers season by season, and at times the wonderfully deep and complex themes you can get from what is essentially a children's show. But they still look at the deep themes as you'll come across them. Especially they explore those in the most recent 2 episodes, In Space and Lost Galaxy. So because I had so much fun doing the Enterprise ranked with my brother Dave, I thought I'd do another ranked one because it's light, it's inconsequential. I'll also quickly say, hey, these suits aren't coming from my favorite seasons. Some of them are from terrible seasons. It's just the suits rock, in my opinion. So weirdly, we're going to kick off with that. Give me one sec. Kicking off this top 10 is number 10 is the suit from Turbo. Now, Turbo is what it is. It's the worst of the Zordon era, which is Mighty Morphin through in space. It's debatably the worst, or not debatably, it is the worst of the original Saban run. I'm not going to say it's the worst season of the show. There is some, you got to look for it, but there still is some good. The back half of the season is better than the front half. the season finale of Turbo is really good. It's much better than the rest of the show, and you're almost like it's better than it has any right to be, considering what the season was. But all that being said, I've always dug the suits from Turbo. Most of the seasons have a theme, and the theme from Turbo is really clear. If you were like, this is a car themed season beyond just the car Zords, you can tell by these suits. I also like the color palette here. The colors aren't too bright or too dark. They're just those right shades. The things that stand out, the chest pieces are different enough where it's the yellow, almost for the light yellow highlights, is something that's rare for Power Rangers. But then also getting the chrome on around the visors, I dig it. I know not everybody does, but to me it sums up the theme of the shows. The helmets are still differentiated, where everybody is still kind of like, even though there's the uniformity, there's a bit of a uniqueness to each Ranger with each visor. So I gotta give that shout out. There's other seasons that do this better, but Turbo still picks it up. I've always dug the suits, if not the show it came from. Moving on. Number 9 is from the most recent, not the most recent, but one of the most recent seasons of Power Rangers. This is from, I want to say Go-Go Busters. Oh boy, Beast Morphers. Sorry, I think Go-Go Busters was the Sentai, and I'm probably wrong, but moving on. What I dig about these suits is how unique they are. I love how different these are. Most of the Power Ranger suits, they're like, these are the superhero suits that someone would morph into. It wraps around the entire body, or they step into, and then they zip up the front or the back. Nah, with these, you can picture someone like putting on the pants. The pants have friggin' pockets, it looks like. And then the boots, and then the awesome coat. Like, it's borderline athletic wear. It's borderline parkour. Like, you could see this as like people being inspired by the Power Rangers, getting a bit of those powers, and just then making these suits accordingly. I don't know. I know that's not what happened in the show, but aside from the Robo Ranger here, I just have always dug these suits. They're unique enough. They're different. They don't look like anything that's come before or since. There's other suits that you'll even see later on the list that have almost like the jacket thing, but it still looks similar enough to the other suits that you're like, it falls in line with what came before. Even though you're like, this is in line, this separates it a bit. It's quite unique, and that's what makes them stand out. Next up, we have from my favorite season, RPM. And I'll admit, I could have put these suits slightly like in the 10th place instead of Turbo. One, my bias wouldn't allow me, because RPM is my favorite season of the show. And no offense to In Space is probably my second favorite season. It's just RPM, I think, has even further darker themes than In Space, and there's so much to chew, even though it does retread some stuff from In Space and doesn't do the retread as well as In Space did the original. It still did some other things just so well. But what also edges it out over Turbo for me is the Sentai it was based on was car themed, but it was also animal themed, and these suits pull that off. You get the car theme, of course, with the headlights on the helmets, as well as the friggin' almost tires that do some spinning action in the show at the top of the wrists, almost as gauntlets, and at the top of the boots, and then of course almost the seatbelt V for the main 5, and then the helmet, like the helicopter slash jet seatbelts for the gold and silver Rangers. But you get the car theme with like those aesthetics, but then the animal theme and the way the logoed numbers are, as well as some of the details on the helmets. I really dig the balance that they struck, because Power Rangers also has, like, so many times the seasons are based on animal themed, dinosaur themed, or ninja themed, or whatever, or space themed. But this one it strikes the balance of both. Like, they're not my absolute favorite suits, but because they aesthetically balance both, it's one of the few times we get both a black and a green Ranger. And I love the show. The show is awesome. So that is my number. Okay, so Turbo was 10. I almost said Mystic Force. That's coming up. Beast Morphers was 9. RPM is my number 7. My number 6 is Power Rangers in Space, which is debatably one of the best seasons of the show. It's my number 2. I know for Nathan it's number 1, and for a lot of the fandom it's number 1, or it's consistently up there. I really dig these suits. It very much is in theme of what came before. It's also something that introduces like a uniformity, more so than preceding seasons. Like the Ranger colors are featured most prominently on these suits than almost any of the ones that came before, with the exception of the Alien Ranger suits. But I like the stripe across the center with the individual Ranger colors, except for the 6th Ranger. And then what makes them stand out to me the most is the helmets. The helmets have your traditional, the mouth, but without the actual lip indentations, because that always kind of looked weird to me. Other suits have it, and I'll roll with it, but still. The visors are nice, but then the additional black on the top of the helmet, that's cool, and that's not something we had really gotten before. I think we got it a little bit in Turbo, but it looks the balance of it looks better in here. I've always loved the suits from In Space. The uniformity, but still everybody stands out. I dig it. I dig them. So that is why they are my number 6. My number 5 comes from the first official Disney season, because Wild Force is technically a Disney season, but is still grouped in with the Saban era, is from Ninja Storm. Now, Ninja Storm, it's okay, but what I dig is, again, the suits. We've had a number of ninja-themed seasons with Power Rangers. Alien Ranger was very ninja because it was coming from a ninja-based Sentai, Kaku Ranger. But these stand out more than those, but they don't get as busy as later ones do. Looking at you, Jungle Fury, and especially Ninja Seal. Although those still look cool, I find these have a great balance of, the colors are a little bit lighter than normal, but it makes sense when you've got the Navy Ranger and the Crimson Ranger, as well as your Red and Blue Rangers. But then, so the colors stand out a bit more. Having gray instead of your traditional white as a highlight on the sleeves is unique. For Rangers, gray, I'm noticing, does start to seep into the palette more, but traditionally it's white. Having the white for the gloves and the neck is nice. The helmets look great. The standout suit is, of course, the Green Ranger one, which has one of the better looking shields. The shield looks awesome. It's a great throwback to the one that you got from Mighty Morphin, the Green Ranger in the Mighty Morphin era. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous suit. These suits are great, and that's why they're at number 5. No, number 6? Yeah, because 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. Okay, so they're my number 6. Number 5, sorry, I can't count, is Mystic Force, which is one of my lesser favorite seasons just because it's too Red Ranger focused. And as much as you can make the joke with the original run of Power Rangers through the first half of Turbo, it became the Tommy Oliver show, guest starring the Power Rangers. The other Rangers had enough personality and everything and charm where you're like, nah, I can still focus on them. Mystic Force, it's Red Ranger focus was too much, to me anyway. The other characters didn't get developed enough. The magic theme is intriguing, but these suits are gorgeous. The color palette is wonderful. They're a little bit darker while still being vibrant. The helmets are with the visors are unique looking. The gold with the black on the highlight, not as much white, makes it stand out. The capes are what make it borderline majestic. Just a beautiful suit. Not a great season, or even a good one, but great suits. Which is why they're at my number 5. Number 4 comes from one of the worst seasons of the show, Super Megaforce. Megaforce sucks. Super Megaforce sucks even more. It's one of my least favorite seasons of the show. It's probably my second least favorite. Worst is Overdrive, and Overdrive has the worst suits, period, too. Fight me. I know there's some fans of them. I'm not one of them. But say what you will about the show. These suits are, again, gorgeous. The Sentai it was from is a pirate theme, and the pirate theme is very unique. For Power Rangers, it's one that doesn't show up. It's the only time a pirate theme for the Rangers has shown up. I believe it's the only time it did for the Sentai and a Sentai as well. The jackets with the pop collars are cool. The helmets are nice. The black being featured predominantly is great. The white being lesser focused is awesome. It's just, I love these suits. I wish the show was even half as good as the suits. These suits deserve a much better show. But they're just beautiful looking. Hence being at number 4. Number 3 is from Power Rangers SPD. Which is a good season, not the best. It's one of the ones where the Rangers are they are a police force. You got that with Time Force, you got that with Lightspeed Rescue, and then, of course, with SPD. But where I'd say, these suits stand out to me more than the the Lightspeed Rescue and the Time Force suits, where Time Force is a much better season. SPD, what I dig about it is the shades on the suits are great, but they stand out more than the other ones. There is a uniformity, but there is a bit of a uniqueness to them. Also, the thing that throws Time Force off the list for me is I don't like color on the visors. I don't know why. I just don't. To me, it's got to be the clear, the jet black. I don't know why. It just does. That's just how I am. But these where it's a predominantly the color, but then the white outlining the number of the Ranger, and then the one sleeve black. I just dig the heck out of the look of these. It was unique from a lot of things that came before. Later seasons, including the most recent one, would try to do this, where it's like one sleeve being different, and they don't pull it off as well. SPD, solid season, excellent suits. Number 3 is the most dramatic departure that we had from the original Power Rangers one with Zeo. Because for the first 3 seasons, even though they were adapting from 3 different Sentais, as it went, they went into Die Ranger, and that's where we got the White Ranger costume. A little bit more on that later. And then Kaku Ranger for Alien Ranger, and the Ninja Megazord and the Shogun Megazord. They still kept the Zoo Ranger suits from the original Mighty Morphin season. When we got to Zeo, that's where it's like, okay, you know what? We're going to use more footage and we're going to get the suits along with the enemies and the Zords. And I always dug the heck out of these suits. The mystic technology theme is a bit different. The geometry on the visors makes it unique. I like that the mouthpieces are still within the color, almost that you don't see them. The gold tech with the white not being as predominant, I dig. It fits with what came before. It sets up what comes later. The uniqueness of the visors being like almost having the edges that like the Ranger number would have. Pink was the first one, so no edges. Then 2 having the 2 almost pills, and then 3 having the diamond, 4 having the rectangle, and 5 having the star. I just always dug that. I've always dug the suits. Zeo was a great season, one of my favorites, and I always dug the suits, and that's why it's at my number 2. My number 1 is, of course, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's the suit that you almost always compare it to. It is the classic go-to of the Ranger outfits. It's just, they're great. It might not be as artistic as some of the other suits that we've seen on this list, but it's still your go-to comparison. The visors work great. The white diamond accents are awesome. The predominant colors, like it's what it's these were iconic, which is weird to describe it as, but Power Rangers at its height was huge. These stood out. And they are basically what you can always, they're your baseline comparison. Even though I'd say other suits stand out more, these are, when you think Power Rangers, most of the time, this is what you think of. I like the unique designs on the helmets, even though you're like, no, there's uniformity. There's still some uniqueness to each one. The Green Ranger shield. Now, this picture is from Zoo Ranger, because you can tell how good the shield looks. If it was from Mighty Morphin, then it would be flimsy looking because the prop got destroyed on the mail trip over. But it still works. These are classic suits, and that's why they're my number 1. I want to do some shout outs just from some other suits in particular. This one I'm quickly showing. This is a creation from the Boom Studios comic. This is Lord Draken, or Dracone. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I believe it's Draken, who is an alternate universe version of Tommy, where he was the evil Green Ranger who then got the white power. So you get this awesome fusion sort. I just dig this suit a lot. It's a really cool suit. A shout out to suits that never got into the show that I kind of wish had, and you'll see one that did, is these are the Die Ranger suits. Die Ranger is a very fun and one of the most enjoyed of the Sentais. I've been slowly working my way through it. I dig the heck out of it, and I really, really dig these suits. I wish they had adapted them into the show. I know they can't now. They kind of did in Super Mega Force, and it's like, it makes no sense that they did. It was lazy editing, but it was still kind of like, as a fan of the suits, I was like, yeah! I don't know, I just really, really dig these costumes. The white vest, the little symbol, but then, of course, the unique helmets and visors. I love the Die Ranger stuff. And then this is the Gold Zeo Ranger, and I deliberately didn't include him in the group shot when I was talking Zeo, because I wanted to shout it out. This is my favorite Power Ranger suit, period. A lot of people point to the original Green Ranger with his awesome shield, and the White Ranger also having the awesome shield. To me, the Gold Zeo Ranger is the best one with a shield. He looks like a tank. And when they introduce him as a tank. He's walking through everybody, and he's got Pyramidas, and then he later becomes Jason, who's my favorite Red Ranger and favorite Ranger, period. But I've always dug the Gold Ranger suit. To me, it is like, as much as I've even described some of the others as beautiful and majestic, that's the Gold Ranger suit in a nutshell. It looks gangster. It fits with Zeo. But if the Gold Ranger were to show up anywhere else, I'd be like, y'all are done. Like, look at this dude. He's a tank. All right, this went longer than most of our shorts did, but and it was also my third time trying, but I'm like, you know what, I'm powering through. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this, even though it's just me madly rambling about favorite suits from Power Rangers. I still hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again so much for your love and support and your prayers. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Easter this coming weekend. Praying for you guys. Love y'all. To my patrons, I'll be getting the you'll have early access to next week's episode later this week. I know most of the time I try to get it Wednesday, but because I've been feeling sick, I've been feeling off. So there you go. It is coming for you. And everyone, hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. God bless, my friends, and take care. Peace!